Hi, hello. So today again we are back to answer writing strategy video with respect to optional paper sociology. As usual, I am going to compare two versions of answer scripts and I am going to tell what is the plus and minus with respect to these two answer scripts, right? With marks also, right? Fine. Now the question is, the difference between information and data in social science is subtle, SUBTLE, comment. This question is from MAINS 2022. It carries 10 marks, right? Fine. Now, the first version of answer script written by an aspirant, right? Fine. Now, see the first passage of the answer. Science is a body of knowledge that entails various facts and theories. Research is at the base of such theories, and the main motive of any research is collection of data and its analysis to interpret the information that the data holds. This is first paragraph. So in the first paragraph, he has given a brief intro base about science and society, sociology things, right? Now the second paragraph, data is a mere collection of facts and details. Data is the raw output that is collected in the initial stages of research. Data is highly unprocessed, raw, and often not meaningful, right? Fine. Then the next paragraph, information on the other hand is the interpretation of data. Data post-processing and analysis provides meaningful interpretation of a phenomenon. The relation between data and information is well understood as data being a larger set and information being a part or a subset of the data, right? Fine. Then the fourth paragraph, eminent sociologists like Durkheim, Weber, etc. have collected large amounts of data to infer and interpret the information to provide concrete theories, right? Next paragraph. For instance, Durkheim in his theory of suicide collected data from various perspectives, that is cosmological factors, standard of living, social institutions like religion, etc. And from such data interpreted that suicides are as social as they are psychological through his regulation integration matrix, right? Fine. In a similar fashion, Weber in his Protestant ethic collected data regarding interlinkages between the birth of capitalism and religious ideals and inferred that social factors like religion and its ideals affect the economic development of a community, right? Fine. The last paragraph, though there exists a wide array of differences between data and information in terms of their organization, processing, decision making ability, etc., such differences are subtle, 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 and the two together form the pillars for the development of theories in social science, right? Fine. See, now this answer looks pretty good on first reading, right? But still, this answer has some deficiencies. What are they, right? Fine. See, the first three paragraphs, see, this is for 10 marks. 10 marks means maximum 1.5 side is the limit, right? So the first three paragraphs, which is occupying the one full side of this answer sheet, is just giving a definition, nothing specific with respect to sociological dimension. So basic definition for data, basic definition for information, that's there. But it's not a kind of sociological input is not there, right? Fine. But he has spent one full side. Now, the next side, that is from the fourth paragraph, yes, he has given two examples, one with respect to Emil Durkheim and another one with respect to Weber, right? Fine. Now, okay, fine. So these two examples are decent, but I would prefer Durkheim will fit best when compared to Weber with respect to this particular question. Fine. Now, again, the last paragraph is very generic, There is no any kind of sociological input, right? Fine. Now, see, for this question, I would say 5 marks is decent, right? But 5 marks is not sufficient if you want a higher rank, right? So at least 7, 6.5, 7.5, something like that is better. So the problem with this answer is it is very generic except for the examples which is with respect to Durkheim and Weber. So if you remove those examples, this answer looks very generic, first thing. Second thing is, the question is the difference between information and data in social sciences subtle. Comment. So here he has concluded, he has substantiated the statement that the difference between data and information in social science is subtle, right? Fine. But, and the question says only comment, the question did not ask you to substantiate, right? Fine. And practically also in social sciences, and moreover with respect to specifically sociology as a discipline, this degree of subtleness itself is itself is a questionable thing, because it is highly variable, and the degree of differentiation between data and information is dependent on the kind of social scientist or the researcher who is involved in interpreting and working with the data, right? Fine. Now see, I am going to give my version of answer script. So this is my version. So the very first paragraph, see, I have not defined what is data, I have not defined what is information and all. So I just straight away start with the answer directly, right? Fine. See, now I am going to read my version of answer script. Despite certain limitations like lack of laboratory experimentation, lack of objectivity and universalization, sociological research relies upon basic tools of scientific method, right? Any kind of social studies thus rely primarily on empirical observations which are recorded in the form of data. Such data collected is raw and must be subjected to analysis and interpretations to derive a meaningful conclusion. Full stop. Such a derived meaningful conclusion is termed as information in a contextualist manner. See, why I have used a contextualist is, again, it is highly variable with reference to the specific context and ideological inclination of the researcher involved, right? Fine. Processing of data into information is hardly value neutral, though it is decided. See, this kind of wordings were missing in the earlier version of answer, value neutral, contextualist, right? So these are all like very important when it comes to social research methods, right? Fine. Now, the next paragraph, the value disposition of a social scientist will essentially decide the kind of processing a set of data undergoes in its metamorphosis into an information. Full stop. For instance, the causation factor with respect to Mopla rebellion was found and documented in 2 ways by 2 different researchers. While the researcher with the communist ethics informed the cause to be exploitation by landlords, the researcher with religious subscription informed the cause to be Hindu-Muslim riots. Full stop, right? Then the next paragraph. In Durkheim's terms, the contemporary farmer suicides can be attributed to 2 of his types, namely egoism and anomie, reasoned with lesser integration and lesser regulation respectively. Having collected data from various studies on suicide in relation to religion, psychology, seasons, etc., Durkheim deduced his informative theory of suicides, grouping suicides into 4 types, namely egoistic, altruistic, fatalistic and anomic. Right? Full stop. Final concluding paragraph. Hence, the degree of subtleness in establishing the difference between data and information in social science is dependent on the value disposition of the social researcher. Is dependent on the value disposition of the social researcher, right? Fine. So yeah, that's it. So I said the previous session of answer script will get about 5 or 5.5, something like that. and you should get at least 6.5, 7 or something like that to get higher score, right? So if you write an answer like the second version, you will get probably around 6.5 or 7 something like that, right? Fine. So whenever you write an answer, and especially with respect to optional paper, it should not be very generic and it should be more from a sociological perspective, since this being a sociology paper, right? In my version of answer, I have linked two things. One is sociology as a science, and another one is the social research method, the value disposition of the social researcher, the value disposition of the social researcher. See, that is very important to establish the kind of relation between data and information, because in social sciences, this interpretation, the way it is being informed, the way it is being interpreted, is heavily dependent on the social researcher, the person on the spot, right? Right. So that is very important that you need to highlight, and more specifically, you should write your answer from a sociological perspective, right? Fine. So otherwise, the previous version of answer was decent. On first reading, it looked decent, right? Nothing very bad and all. But still, you should get another extra 1-2 mark extra. That's my intention, right? Fine. So wish you all the very best. Thank you.